that due to that sin, Iblis was given a punishment. Iblis became shaitan, despite the fact that shaitan was a big personality. He was the ustad, head of the angels. He was close to Allah. And he had a lot of ma'rifah, nearness to Allah. And he had a lot of good qualities. And the jinns and the angels all accepted him. And he was a chief in one way you could say he's a chief. So why was he given such a big punishment? What sin did he commit? What error did he commit? Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the Quran, Allah ta'ala has made that sin apparent for this reason, so that we, the servants, we can learn a lesson from that and don't commit that sin. And deen and dunya, all the ni'mas of deen and dunya, everything, all the ni'mas are removed. And what was that sin that shaitan committed? Shaitan, he was unhappy with the ni'mas of Allah. He was unhappy. He was ungrateful. Allah Ta'ala gave him a big maqam, high status. But the big sin of being ungrateful, then when a person commits that, then also in opposite to that, there's a great ni'mah and favor of Allah as well. Say subhanallah. And that ni'mah, then to be grateful for that ni'mah, imagine how grateful actually, and this is also ni'mah I've told you on our body, we are eating, drinking, standing, breathing. We don't consider these ni'mahs. Yes? Or we may sometimes, but the real ni'mah that Allah Ta'ala has given to us is greater than these physical things and organs of our body, and that's the big ni'mah, the great favor of Allah, which a person doesn't even think about. And look, imagine how great an act is being grateful for that ni'mah. What is that ni'mah? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He gives somebody the understanding of deen, Allah gives the ability to grow the beard, there's no greater ni'mah than this. Allah gives you the ability, opportunity, tawfiq to wear the amama, blessed turban, there's no greater tawfiq than this. The Holy Prophet ﷺ, if you get the tawfiq to practice on any of his sunnahs, there's no greater ni'mah than this. These all ni'mahs, treasures, gifts from Allah. Because against this, the ajr, the rewards for this are great rewards indeed, fantastic rewards. One sunnah, imagine the ajr, the reward of one sunnah, that you get 100 shaheed martyrs reward for observing a sunnah. Tell me, so if always you are observing that sunnah of Rasulullah always, then imagine how great the ajr is, the reward. The Allah Ta'ala's ni'mas, that if we are ungrateful for His ni'mas and treasures, if that is such a big sin, to be ungrateful, then tell me such a great name of Allah. If we are ungrateful for that, so if we are ungrateful for the greatest name of Allah, that Allah gives tawfiq to you to pray salah, to pray tahajjud, to go to the masjid, Allah invites you to the masjid. Aren't these treasures, ni'mas? So we should be extremely grateful for this. And how do we show our gratitude? So what we learn is that the biggest sin in the eyes of Allah is being ungrateful. That's one thing. And also we understood that the greatest ni'mah, the biggest ni'mah is what? The greatest treasure of Allah is that Allah Ta'ala gives us understanding of the deen. Allah gives us tawfiq to practice the deen, that you're practicing the deen. So how do we show gratitude to this greatest ni'mah? How do we practically show our gratefulness for this greatest ni'mah? Yes? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that it's very easy to show that you're grateful for this ni'mah. And that is that you do my dhikr, do my remembrance. That whenever a person does the dhikr of Allah, when he practices dhikr, then all the ni'mas Allah Ta'ala has given to the individual, whether he knows them or not, then by doing dhikr, he is showing his gratitude. The favors of Allah, that Allah has allowed him to pray, then he should be grateful. If you got the opportunity to tilawat the Quran, then be grateful for that. Show shukr. Demonstrate shukr. If Allah has given you tawfiq to implement the sunnah, then demonstrate gratefulness. And what is the way to demonstrate gratefulness? How should you be grateful to Allah? By doing dhikr of Allah. By doing dhikr, Allah has told us Himself the tariqah of being grateful to Him. For this reason we see the pious predecessors have stated that in the hereafter, Allah Ta'ala has stated that the highest status darajat will be of the dhakireen, those who did dhikrullah. For that, with that purpose in mind, that whenever you or any individual is busy, occupied with ibadah, whether it's salah, recitation of Quran, or the ibadat, acts of worship, nawafil, actions, you're busy and occupied, and after that, definitely, most definitely, even if you sit down for 3 minutes and remember Allah in your heart and do maraqabah, then you are elevating yourself to a high level. And keep this habit, make this habit. Don't just get up or leave the action. That whenever any ibadah you do, any act of worship, then first thing, such a great name Allah Ta'ala has given to me. How do I repay that favor? How do we confirm that Allah Ta'ala has given this? That we think salah is not a big deal. Salah is such a big deal, such a big ni'mah that we can never imagine how great a ni'mah is salah. And in the masjid, even for me to enter the masjid is a great ni'mah that we cannot imagine. These footsteps that